What's up, guys? Darkdally here, playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, and today we're doing something just a bit different. How realistic is Wildlands? Most of you guys know I did a small stint in the Marine Corps, but today I want to have a chat with my good friend, Darkchild. He's served in various capacities for the last 18 years in the British Army as well as security contractors. So we're going to have a good chat and have a look at the game that we all love to play. Ghost Recon Wildlands from the perspective of a lifelong veteran. And now, don't get me wrong, this is not to break the game down or, tear stuff apart, but rather just to get some perspective on some of the things that we all love to do here in Bolivia. Darkchild has been in the infantry, he's trained with various special forces from around Europe, and was a small arms instructor in the Army. If anyone has any opinions on anything in this game to bring it to life, it's this guy. All right. Okay. So, brother, I got to ask you, give me your opinion, on the kits available in the game. Let's start with the gear you can equip on your character. If you were operating in Bolivia, what would you wear? If you were like an operator right there, what would you wear, and how would it contrast with what's available in the game? What would you change?
Well, my gear is as familiar to what I would wear in real life as possible. The thing is in the context of Ghost Recon, they're kind of doing two different jobs rolled into one. They're doing long-range reconnaissance and combined with CTRs, which is close target reconnaissance, and then they're going straight into hitting their own targets. So you need two different kits, really. So you'd want some kind of webbing, lightweight gear with for your recce's. So you're going to be minimizing on body armor, helmets, that kind of stuff. Probably wear soft hats and keep very low profile. And then after you've set up your attack, basically after you've done your recce, which would normally be done all night, you'd go back, you'd re-rig, and then you'd go and do the strike op, as we would call it, or a DA, as Americans call it, direct action. So if you're going to be doing both, I'd probably wear what my guy's wearing. So I'd go for a plate carrier, because you want some kind of armor.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. Because I knew you had opinions on the various vests. So here's the plate carrier. I knew you had opinions on the vest in the game because I've heard you express it before and say that you were not satisfied with what was available.
Oh no, not at all. They must have some kind of deal with 511 gear because that's the only branded kit you can get. But otherwise, most of the gear in this game looks like it's for a fucking airsofter or something. Which is fine. Airsofting's fine. But, I mean, they need a nice range of modern tactical kit, like a Cry plate carrier, which is kind of the industry standard. And being British, I want a full set of webbing, so that'd be like a battle belt to an American.
Okay.
We like belt kits, and also they don't have my personal favorite. I don't really like belt kits. That's just more of a British Army thing. But I like chest rigs, and there's nothing that's a chest rig in this game. You have the molly harness, but I think it's based off of some Condor thing, which is halfway between webbing and a chest rig, but again, that's like an airsofting brand. You want something like a Haley Strategic D3CR or a Spiritus Systems Microfight, something modern, something that people that do this shit or are into the kit would recognize and be like, oh yeah, I'm into that. That's the kind of rig that I would prefer to wear.
Okay. That's cool.
That's pretty much my biggest bugbear.
So, how realistic do you think our average base infiltration method is in the game? And what are your thoughts on that? Like, when you and I infiltrate a base, like when it's you, me, and Zero, and Martin, and whatever, and we're infiltrating bases, how realistic do you think that is? I know it's a broad question, but yeah.
Without going too much into tactics, the basic methodology is correct, but you're just doing it in a very, very shortened time frame. I mean, a proper recce would take all of a night in real life, or to watch one subject area or target area, depending on what you want to call it. But we tend to have a look because of, the mechanics of the game. You've got stuff that to mark targets and shit like that. You don't need to watch for patrol patterns or morale or routes in and out, fire support positions, any of that shit. It all just happens kind of organically very quickly. So what we do is as realistic as the game could probably allow. but it's still very quick and very sloppy.
Yeah, you know, I guess I expected that. Okay, so speaking of infiltration, one thing I got to ask you. So you were in the British Army for 18 years or whatever for quite some time. So I have to ask, because this weapon is in the game, what's your feeling and experience with the L85, or you know, more generally, the SA80 weapons platform? What's your experience with the SA80, and how do you feel with it?
Uh,
Like, yeah.
in real life, yeah, it's fine. It's a rifle. It goes bang. In the game, fuck me. I would not touch it with a barge pole. It is, and because one reason, if you get the weapon display up and scroll around and have a look at it floating around, you can see on the right hand side the cocking handle or charging handle, if you're American, is about a centimeter to the rear, and you can see the brass sticking out, and that weapon is in the middle of a stoppage, so it would never fire in real life.
I'm
You'd
looking at it
die.
right now. It's a good one.
That's a fucking stovepipe jam or a double feed. That weapon's never going to fire. And I used it once or twice in game just to see how it competed with the other weapons, but no, it sucks. Won't go near it.
I know you've told me that in real life it feels a bit top heavier or something like that. I'm just asking,
Oh,
you know.
it's just heavy in general. Yeah, it's probably the heaviest basic service rifle in the world today. Let me think of it's about 9 pounds.
That's the
So
same weight as an M16. That's what I used. An M16A2, fully loaded, it weighed about 9 pounds, thereabouts. But
yeah,
the
this
weight
is just nine
distribution was
pounds
different.
by itself. No
Yeah,
magazine, nothing else. Like your average fucking modern M4 is going to be about half that. An
really.
AK probably roughly the same. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's very heavy, and all the weights at the rear as well. And being bullpup, I don't like bullpups. You do get a certain amount of speed with your reloads after you've been doing it for a very long time, but it's never going to be as fast as a conventional layout. Yeah, it's got the same length barrel as a full size M16, and it's shorter than an M4. That's the advantage of a bullpup system, because the magazine's behind the trigger. So I mean, an L85's got a 21-inch barrel, whereas an M4's got a 14.5-inch barrel. So it's probably one of the most accurate rifles, and the weight adds to that also. The real problem is that it's really fucking heavy, and you can only fire it right-handed, unless very specific CQB situations. But outside of that, if you try firing it left-handed, you'll smash your fucking teeth out, because it's got a reciprocating bolt and cocking handle.
The game gives a lot of options for camo, but honestly, most of them are. Let me back up here to my camo. Oddly enough, most of the camos in the game seem to be, as far as I know, branded like hunting camo patterns, and not there's not enough military camos in the game. I think there's so many good actual real world military camos that are missing from Wildlands. Which ones would you like to see or think would be realistic is the most important question to this arena.
Uh,
Okay.
well, everyone now uses multicam, so that's in, and they've got various kinds of multicam, which is fucking laughable because it's called multicam, and then they've got 4 variants of it. I remember when it was initially advertised, it was like, oh yeah, one camouflage for all fucking environments. No, that's not true at all. It doesn't work in all environments, otherwise there wouldn't be 4 different shades of it.
Hey, don't
But I like
don't tell it
woodland.
to me. I'm from America, and we our army actually instituted UCP. Where's that at? There it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
this shit. Yeah, so don't tell me about universal camo. But go ahead, go ahead.
We used to laugh at your guys for a long time for that. Luckily, they've stopped using it now. They multicam too, same as everyone else. But personally, I like woodland. I mean, the British woodland was called DPM. It's quite similar to the American one. We don't have the British one in there, which was our previous camouflage to MTP, or what we call multicam. It's a variant, but it's effectively multicam. So yeah, woodland is my favourite. It works. I mean, I run woodland top and multicam bottoms. It's kind of a throwback to the old Afghanistan invasion, where people were wearing woodland tops and desert bottoms. So it's a bit of a nod to the old days.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you've got 3-color fucking desert and woodland, and an Arctic, I don't think you're really going to struggle anywhere else. But like you say, most of the camouflages are all like this Cryptek, Pencott, I can't remember the
Yeah,
others, but again,
they're all like
they're all made
branded.
fucking popular by like airsofters and shit. I could go into full nerd mode with camouflages because I used to work for the Infantry Trials and Development Unit, so we did a lot of camouflage trials before we brought in Multicam. So I know a lot of the actual technical stuff behind it, but yeah, I don't think you want to hear any of that.
I
But
would
I will
love to hear
say,
that, but we don't have the time here today.
flat coyote brown works better in pretty much any environment that isn't the snow to any camouflage pattern. We tested it for months, and flat colors like brown or olive drab work better in almost every situation. So you can take that one away with you.
Okay, so here's another question for you. So when you're actually in the field, what do you think is the most important item to carry, and why?
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from your rifle and your boots, baby wipes.
Baby wipes.
Yeah.
Are there baby wipes in Wildlands? Let me see if I can find it. No, I can't find it in my accessories. Nope. Why is that? Well, I
No,
don't have
not
to
too
ask you why
much.
that is. We all know why that is.
Yeah,
I just,
once you've been in the jungle for 8 weeks and your groin's like the bottom of a World War One trench, you thank the fucking God for baby wipes.
okay, so how viable do you feel a PDW, such as the P90 or say the SR635, would actually be in real life? Like this weapon right here. How viable is it in real life? Now, from my understanding, these weapons are mostly assigned to like support roles, and that's why they were designed. And what about also, before you answer, what about the unique rounds they fire? Because they fire those tiny little itty bitty rifle size, rifle shaped rounds, and of
Yep.
course it's including the 5.7. What do you think?
I think what you mentioned there, you hinted on why no one really uses them. They were marketed back in the 90s as having a sub-caliber ammunition which could pierce body armor like an assault rifle, and that just turned out to not be true. The 4.6 and the 5.7 are both completely inferior rounds to even a 5.56, which I hate because it's a gay little round, but it still outperforms any PDW caliber. And I mean, the proof's in the pudding. They came out in the 90s. If they were any good, everyone would use them. And as far as anyone credible using them that I can think of, apart from little shitty countries and their interior police forces, you have Navy SEALs have been known to use them, and I mean certain elements of British forces use them, but it's a very limited role. And I think the idea is pretty shit, to be honest. If you want a submachine gun, use a submachine gun. There's still valid reasons for using those, like low velocity ammunition, so you're going to get less ricochets in a like civilian heavy environment or whatever. And if you want to use a rifle, use a rifle. The PDW concept is a bad one, in my opinion. Having an enemy that's returning fire on you when they've been shot is the last thing you want. So a PDW is just increasing the problems that we already experience with 5.56.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you think Ubisoft realistically represents the various caliber of, rounds in this game? Like, personally, I don't. Let me just put my answer here. I don't think so, especially in the case of the Mark 17, for instance, the Scar 17 in this game. Now, this is the reason I ask you this question, because you fired a lot of weapons, a lot more. Well, you have far more experience than I ever, could dream to have with weapons. This weapon right here, for instance, fires a 7.62 x 51 NATO round, but it's really on par with all the assault rifles. What's your opinion on the way
Yeah,
they?
I think it's purely a game mechanics question. The Mark 17 in game is not a sniper rifle; it's an assault rifle. So they've been programmed all along to balance out with each other. Whereas, I mean, you look at the fucking, what do they call it in this game? The G28, which uses the same caliber round, similar
Yeah,
rifle setup,
bec-
but it's completely outperforms it because it's in a different category. I think it's just the game a programming question, really. I don't think they've even thought about calibers when they've programmed them. They just put them into categories and say, okay, they all need to be kind of similar for balance.
Yeah, and I think that's bullshit because the Scar 17 in this game fires the same round as this rifle right here, the SR 25. They both fire the same 7.62 by 51. Now these are different rifles and on completely different platforms. This is kind of a meld of the AR-10 and AR-15 platforms, and the Scar 17 is on a completely different platform, but they fire the same round. But because they're in different categories in the game, they're not even comparable whatsoever.
The SR-25 is very similar to the what eventually became the British sharpshooter rifle, the old 2981, and the G28 is the civilian version of the HK417. So those two weapons and the Scar H, which is the Mark 17, I trialed all of them, and in real life on the same weapon trial, and we got rid of the Scar H, which you Mark 17, in the first stage of the trial because it just simply wasn't anywhere near as accurate as the other two. So I think they've come from, in real life this is, not in game terms, I think they've come from different design philosophies. I think the Scar H is been designed on a classic battle rifle, so it is kind of a modernization of a Mark 14, or an M14, sorry. Whereas the SR-25 and the G28 are dedicated marksman rifles or sharpshooter rifles. In the term we use during the trials was the Scar H is an assault rifle plus, whereas the other two are a sniper rifle minus, if that makes sense.
Okay, I get you. Yeah.
So they come from different angles approaching the same problem. So
Yeah.
in that regard, the fact that the Mark 17 doesn't perform like the other two does reflect reality, but I don't think they intended that at all. I wish they had a customizable LVOAC in the game.
Oh,
That would be
yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me happy. I'd probably play it more again. I mean, I put in like 400 hours, but that gun would bring me right back straight away.
Okay, so as long as we're talking about weapons, let's have a look at the pistols. So it seems to me now, I know the pistols, let's have a look at them here. I know the pistols all have very different stats, but honestly, from a YouTuber who's been doing hundreds of YouTube videos on Wildlands over the last year, and specifically I do weapons testing, I can't say I've really noticed a difference in these pistols. My point is this, because the pistols really do all seem to even out. Now, that said, most people tend to use the 5.7 right here because it has the highest stats overall. Okay, so since they pretty much all even out, Darkchild, you as a person who's probably used at least a few of these, what's your feeling? What do you like to use? I mean, they're really all the same anyway, so what do you like to use in real life?
There's two that I like in this game, and I'll tell you the reasons. There's the P12, simply because I grew up playing Rainbow Six, and Rainbow Six is all about the HK USP, and I've used one in real life. That was in Afghanistan as well. It wasn't ours. It was we were doing some range time with the Germans. They're KSK. They've got all sorts of cool gear, and they let us fire their P12s, and I just really like the whole HK system. And the one I use mainly is the P227, and because they're in a P226 in the game, but it's got a special place in my heart because we used to do a thing in Northern Ireland, which was a kind of a reconnaissance job where you would spend a lot of time in plain clothes with a pistol stuffed down your pants and kind of in like a inside waistband holster, I suppose you'd call it. And our standard issue pistol was the P226, the SIG, and it's a brilliant piece of kit. I'm kind of gutted now that the British Army has moved on to using Glocks, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a pistol for fucking idiots. It's got so many safety features. You'd have to be retarded to have a negligent discharge with a Glock, whereas the SIG just has a decock. There's a
Yeah,
decock and lever, which just changes it from single action to double action. It's a pistol built for fucking war, whereas the Glock is a pistol built for a nanny state, in my opinion.
Well, I like your answer personally because, as you can see, my highest level pistol is my P227, and yeah, that's my preferred weapon as well. Oh, although right now I have the P12 equipped. Okay, but you can see by looking at my screen right here that my P227, that's my usual kit. That's the one I usually use, and that's my usual go-to, and I like it the best in the game. Okay, so from my experience, playing Wildlands all this time the last year, I've seen a lot of, favorite weapons. Like people say this or that is the best, and there's a lot of ones that are really favored. Now, I've noticed a lot of ones that trend. So let's talk about that. Let's start with the glaringly obvious, because I've used 50 cal weapons in real life. Yeah, you knew I was going to go there, because everyone's favorite weapon is the goddamn, HTI. We've both used 50 cal weapons in real life, so I'm just going to ask you, because you're the expert, how viable... I know the answer. I'm going to ask you anyway. How viable is it to carry a 50 caliber rifle and actually use it in an anti-personnel situation?
Well, yeah, wouldn't is the simplest answer. I know certain American units have used 50 cal sniper rifles in an anti-person role, but it's an anti-material rifle and it's broken down. It's a two-man system, so carrying it yourself as well as a primary weapon as well, it's just not going to happen. It's not realistic in anyone's brain.
Yeah.
It's just not practical. I mean, what do we use? We use the L115A3, which is a 338 caliber, which is more than enough, and it held the... What? I'm sorry.
I have no idea what happened. It's okay. Just keep going. It's okay.
But yeah, the 338 is more than enough. It held the record for longest range kill for a certain amount of time as well. I mean, so it's much lighter system, much more handy, and yeah, 50 cal was never designed for that purpose, really.
Yeah, I'm not a sniper. I never claimed to do anything, anything like that. I've only ever used 50 caliber weapons. Really, I've never used a 50 caliber sniper rifle. I've only ever used 50 caliber machine guns. So yeah, me personally, I'm not going to claim anything on this, but the way people, the way people use the HTI in this game, as my game's still loading, is kind of, I think it's reckless. Personally, that's why I stick with I stick with the 7.62. I swear by my SR25, as any watcher of my channel knows. I swear by my SR25. I stick with the 7.62, and I would say it's a much more realistic option. To my knowledge, and Darkchild kind of said the same thing. It's made for anti-material purposes. It's something that if you had how about this? From my understanding, if we were on some kind of like a situation where we anticipated to take down a vehicle, that's where we'd want it, because it has the ability to do something like that. It has the ability to penetrate an engine block. Or
that's the whole purpose it was designed for. Or in the British military, we use them as part of an EOD role, so destroying explosive devices and stuff like that as well.
Okay, so
in an engineer role, can I just point out as well that I'm not a sniper either, just in case there's any real snipers going to be watching this video. I've got a reconnaissance background. There is a certain element of cross training, but I'm not a sniper. Before anyone decides to fucking call me out in the comments saying, "Oh yeah, I carried a 50 cal in Afghanistan." Well, yeah.
All right. So in summary, this is not the most realistic game, but it's fun. I'm still playing it and making videos on it over a year after its release. This may not be a big achievement, but you guys, we're talking about a third-person tactical shooter here. This is not fucking Skyrim, right? The fact that this game is still fun a year after release is actually a pretty good thing. And I think it's a decent achievement. This is such a huge and immersive world to explore. But, okay, so I do have one more question. If you were here, if you were a ghost in Bolivia, like here, if you were this character, what would be your loadout? And if you had anything available to use in the world, what would you use and why?
Fuck yeah, I would probably use a kind of a light pack like my Ghost currently carrying. I would have some kind of light plate carrier, possibly a Cry JPC, a jumpable plate carrier. If not, I'd carry a decent chest rig, like one of the ones I mentioned earlier, Haley Strategic or Spiritus Systems. I'd travel light as fuck, and my weapon would be P226, and I carry a assault rifle. I'd probably carry a short-barreled 7.62. So similar to what we would know as a sharpshooter or a DMR rifle, but with just a shorter barrel. So probably, and I mean a full 7.62, not a fucking Soviet 7.62. But you can get variants with like 13-inch barrels. So that's the perfect assault rifle as far as I'm concerned, because 7.62 is the way forward. Having used both calibers in anger, you see someone get hit by a 5.56 compared to a 7.62. There's no comparison.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it.
In the game, it allows you to carry a sniper rifle. It allows you to carry 2 rifles in the game. How realistic is that in real life?
Oh yeah, that is realistic. Maybe not so much in a contemporary environment, but how we train in a, let's say, conventional environment. Again, I'm not a sniper, but I've had limited training with them, because obviously reconnaissance and snipers do a lot of crossover work. They do carry a sniper rifle, normally carried in a valise, which is a drag bag, as you may know them, which is like a protective bag, which so you'll have your assault rifle until you approach within the target area where you're going to set up your hide location to make your shot, and then you would get your sniper rifle out, set it up, and you're effectively in an OP, an observation post, until it's time to make your shot and extract, in the simplest terms. So yeah, you would carry a rifle and a sniper rifle simultaneously.
Okay. You know what, guys? There's so much useful information here, and I really want to thank Darkchild for helping me out with this video. And I hope you guys like this video, because there's a lot of real, actually useful info here. And those of us who play this game, I know a lot of you who play this game. I know a few hundred of you who play this game, because we talk all the time on my Discord. Actually use weapons in real life, or have, or aspire to, or whatever. And so this info is actually great and makes me want to play the game more and makes the game feel more realistic. So I want to thank you, Darkchild, so much. I mean, thanks for coming here and talking.
Thanks for having me.
And really, guys, there's so much more to come here. You know, we still play this game. Like, I'm still playing this game a year after its release, and trust me, we have some really creative content yet to come. There's so much more yet to come. We're still playing this game and still having fun. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to tell me what you think in the comments below. Darkchild's a really cool guy. He's been there. He's done that. He's used a large part of these weapons, and I thank him for his input. Tell me what you think in the comments below. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Darkdally, here with Darkchild. And we'll catch you guys next time.